Hi, and welcome back to Goddess Guidance. So today I would like to talk about something that's really important to note. Something that really keeps people from having peace in their life and from having the harmony in their life that they seek. And that is forgiving your parents. So growing up, I often had a lot of disappointment and almost anger towards my parents for the things that they said to me or taught me that wasn't so helpful, for all the fighting that they did, for all the drama that I went through and the conflicts that I went through as a child because of the conflicts of my parents. And a lot of the time I really felt like I was failed, like they failed me. And I always thought, why would they do that to me? Why would they do that? Shouldn't they have known that that was damaging to me? Shouldn't they have known that those actions were going to have an impact on me as an adult? Shouldn't they have known? Like, why did they not care enough to have peace? Why did they not care enough to be careful about their words and their actions around me as a child and what they said to me? And for a very long time, it really disturbed my peace and really kind of created a lot of inner turmoil in my own self. And I held on to anger and I held on to sadness. But after kind of going through my own awakening and learning about generational curses and generational trauma, I was finally able to understand that, my parents, and most likely your parents, they didn't raise you consciously thinking, oh, I'm gonna mess this child up. Oh, I don't care at all. I'm gonna mess them up. I don't give a crap. Most likely your parents, my parents, had their own trauma, had their own hurt, because hurt people. Healed people don't hurt people. So most likely, if your parents maybe they were neglectful towards you, or they, even if they may have abused you in some way, not to really downplay the ramifications of abuse. It's just I want to give you kind of some clarity on why those things happen. And I think in a lot of cases, parents they're not necessarily conscious of what they're doing and the consequences of their actions on their children. They're more low in their own root chakra, their own survival instincts, their own feelings of their own anger. I'm sure you've experienced when you're in a really high stress situation or you're in a really emotionally charged situation, your rational mind doesn't work as well as it should. You kind of just act on impulse a lot of the time. And that's what our parents did, a lot of them. And also, a lot of our parents, they only knew what they knew, and they didn't know what they didn't know. So what I mean by that is by teaching you things that may not have been super helpful, or maybe teaching you something that wasn't true or wasn't helpful in your adult life, perhaps they were taught that when they were growing up by their parents or by society or by a teacher or by their own peers. Who knows? But perhaps that's what they taught you was all they knew. They didn't know any better. So that's also something to take into account as well. I think the first step in healing our relationships with our parents is, number one, understanding that our parents are not heroes. Our parents are no different than we are. We are human, they are human. Yes, they created us and they raised us, but at the same time, they are still their own individuals. They still have their own past. They still have their own past experiences. They still have their own past trauma. And sometimes that can be projected onto others and onto their children without their conscious awareness of it. So I'm not trying to give excuses for the damage that our parents may have put on us. But what I'm trying to do is just give you some insight as to the reasoning. What I'm trying to do is just give you some insight about the situation, because I really don't want you to think that it was about you. The way that we treat other people is a reflection of how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about the world. It's not necessarily about the other person. So the way that your parents treated you, whether good or bad, was not really about you. It was about what they have going on inside of themselves and how they view the world, and also what they have been programmed to behave as. So I guess that's the main point I really want to drive home in this video, is that the way that your parents treated you is not a reflection of your worth. It's not a reflection of who you are. And it wasn't your fault, and it's not about you. It was about them and their own wounds, their own trauma, their own whatever it is going on in here. I'll most likely talk more on this subject because there's a lot I want to say about this subject, and I have a lot of personal experiences that I can speak about regarding this subject. But number one, I just really want you to understand that it's not about you. It's not your fault. And regardless of how anyone treats you, you are worthy and you are wonderful and you are amazing, just for the very fact that you have been born and you have incarnated on the earth at this time as who you are. And the way that other people choose to treat you has nothing to do with who you are and your worth. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's just so important that you know this. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please let me know. Please comment about your own experiences and comment with any questions that you might have regarding this topic, or any of your thoughts or feelings regarding this topic. I would really love to hear what you have, and I will see you in the next video.